Hey, everybody. This is Sarah Saxby, and welcome to the Soul Rehab Project, where we talk about lying to ourselves, which is basically the most natural thing that we do. And if you're honest with yourself, you will realize that you lie about just about everything in your life. So we're breaking that down, and we're also talking about the ways we've been lied to that have got us to the point where we currently are. So the reason why I started talking about lying and all the places we pretend every day and we wear a mask and we're fake and all of those things is because I have lived in that very place. So I don't speak on anything that I'm not familiar with. And I have been through a lot of things. And it's not like I'm on the other side of it and I have figured out the keys to the castle and I'm living this completely different life, but I'm sort of in the middle of it right now because I am faced with being very present with myself. And we always hear about presence and being more present and being in the now and all this bullshit. And it's not really bullshit because it's true. It's just that people don't really understand what it means. And so you think like, well, I'm going to take a breath and I'm going to try to be more still and I'm going to try to listen to when somebody introduces themselves. I don't want to forget their name, right? Stuff like that. But we are in and I've talked about this before, but I need to talk about it in different ways. But we were raised and conditioned to believe that doing means that you're valid. Okay. It's hard to think any other way. And I am in a position where I left an abusive relationship. I left an abusive job. And to be fair, my identity felt abusive if I really look at it, who I created and the lies I needed to tell myself to be not only in an abusive relationship, not only in an abusive job, but to be in the identity that I was in for so long. There's no way I was honest with myself when I woke up in the morning. And those things are no longer in my life. I'm looking at the person I was, and I don't ever want to go back there. But now I'm left with all the doing has stopped. And I'm at this crossroads where I'm like, I'm like, what do I do? I should be doing something and I'm trying to create things to do. And I see everyone outside doing. I was talking to a mom the other day and he, I was really happy to be where we were at that time because it was something that I really wanted to do. And she was just like, she couldn't wait till it was over. And she was like, oh, what are you doing when you get home? And I was like, nothing. Truthfully, I had nothing to do. When I walked in the door from this event that we were at, I didn't have anything to do. I didn't plan anything. There was nothing. I could walk in the door and sit down and just sit for the rest of the night. I had nothing to do. And she was like, wow, it'd be so great to have nothing to do. But if you think about it, when people say, oh, it would be so wonderful to have nothing to do, you're lying. Because if you really meant it would be great to have nothing to do, you would schedule time to do nothing. But you don't. Because the minute that you don't have anything to do, you're filling it with something to do. You're going to scroll on your phone. You're going to post something on social media. You're going to turn on Netflix. You're going to plan your next thing to do. You will do something. And we were taught that doing is thriving. So we constantly try to figure out what we can do next that will make us happy. Will the medication make me happy? Will the next Netflix series make me happy? How about the vacation? How about the shopping? Will this bottle of wine? Will those new shoes? Will maybe a new boyfriend? Maybe a bigger house? Maybe a new car? Maybe a different job? Maybe those things will make me happy. Maybe. So we have to understand that we have been lied to. Because when you look at it that way, the way I just said it, you can't possibly think that the next thing you do is going to bring you peace. You're afraid to death of peace. If you weren't, you would schedule time to do nothing. And that means no phone, no Netflix, no wine, no people, nothing. But no one does that. Because you're taught to do. The more I do, the more valid I am. And we're caught in a loop that we've been in for decades. And it's not getting any better. And so you might say, well, if we're not doing, what is there? What is there? Aren't you supposed to enjoy life through your experiences? Yes, sure. But you're understanding it backwards. And if you haven't heard of inversion, maybe it's something you should look into. And I wouldn't look in the internet. But everything has been inverted. Everything that it's like live backwards. So we schedule things to do, right? We schedule things in the future. We're like, oh, I'm going to go hiking. I'm going to go on a vacation. I'm going to go shopping this day, and I'm going to go out to dinner this time. But how do you know? And all of those things you're scheduling are things that you hope will bring you a feeling, a good feeling, that you will enjoy them and somehow feel better because it's not working, right? At least you're not working and the job that you don't like making rich people richer, right? So anything outside of that, I'm going to try to enjoy. So I'm going to schedule all kinds of things to make sure I enjoy them, to make sure I finally find that happiness that I'm looking for. It's an endless search. It's an endless search to escape who we really are. That's all that all these plans constantly. And the thing is, you might not feel like doing that particular thing when that date arrives. So then what do? You do it anyway. You cancel and you feel guilty, right? Because we're not getting it. The reason why we schedule so many things are to escape. I mean, it's going to get worse as virtual reality gets bigger. Because you're going to find people who are they're just going to leave for good. They're going to go into that virtual reality and not want to come back because they can be whoever they want to be. It's too hard to pretend here. It's getting too hard. We're trying really hard at all the pretending stuff. Most of our lives, for a lot of us, is spent going to a job that we don't really like. We do it to get a paycheck, right? And most likely, you are making other people really, really rich. And you're getting enough. Some people maybe just enough to pay bills, not even, not especially these days. Or you make a decent amount. So you have a nice house, couple cars. Maybe you can go on a vacation or two. So you're like, I have no complaints. Really? So you spend the majority of your life doing that. You don't really like it. Some people hate it. It's abusive. You're making rich people richer. So you spend the majority of your week doing that. You come home from that and and then you're frantically rushing around, right? You're running errands. You're running kids all over the place. You're making dinner. You're trying to organize things for the upcoming week or this tournament or whatever. You're crazy. You just left work that you don't like all day long. Came home frantic, but you're like, that's okay. Somewhere around 10 o'clock, I'm going to turn on Netflix and pour myself a glass of wine. What do you think Netflix and a glass of wine is? It's yet again another distraction. You are avoiding being you. It's like my other podcast where I said my mom ran around constantly. She never sat down. And I asked her, why don't you just sit down for a minute? She said, because I don't like how it feels when I sit. Everything in this world was created to distract us from ourselves, because who we are, our soul has the power to do everything, to heal, to know what's best for us, everything. So think about all the things in the world, the entertainment industry, which is going down, by the way. It was created to distract you from yourself. Maybe the people that initially they wanted to get into it, they had good intentions and they are talented, but they had to sell their soul. And we're starting to see that now. The entire fucking industry is ritualistic. Guys, you got to stop giving your energy to this shit. If you really knew what you were idolizing, and you will find out, and you might lose your mind when you find out. It was created to distract us from us. Why do you think plant medicine is illegal? Why do you think? Plant medicine connects us to ourselves. And that is a danger to the system that profits from us being numb and fat and sick and blind. Plant medicine has to be illegal. It's too, what's the word? It's a threat. If we're constantly worried about making money, spending money, saving money, what someone thinks, if we're not good enough, look at the celebrities. They have all these things and we're envious and we're never good enough. And we're always being like, look at the shiny thing over here and fucking Epstein files. And what are you doing? What are you doing all day long? You're distracted all day long. And your biggest wish is, I wish I didn't have anything to do. I wish I could just relax. Really? You wouldn't relax. You wouldn't. You would find something else to fill the time because you don't want to hear what's coming. You don't want to hear what your soul has to say. You don't want to hear it. So you do everything in your power to escape it because your soul is going to say, you're not happy. You're lying to yourself when you wake up in the morning. You're lying. So you're going to try to take more medication. You're going to try to go on more vacations. You're going to try to shop more. You're going to try to get more plastic surgery. You're going to try to post more on Facebook and Instagram because you don't want to hear that you are lying to yourself. You don't want to hear it. And the minute that everything goes quiet, that's when you hear it. So when you say, I wish I could just relax, wish I didn't have anything to do, you're lying again. Because you'll just fill it. You'll just fill it with something else. And that is one of the biggest lies we have ever been told, is that you constantly need to do something. And boredom is really withdrawal from overwhelming distraction. So people are, you feel like you're less than if you don't have anything to do. Or if you're bored, you're just like, gosh, I need something to do. No, sit. Sit and listen to it. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever have to do. To listen to all the ways you've been fucking up and lying and looking at your relationship and being disgusted by it and looking at your job and looking at yourself in the mirror and going, what the fuck have I been doing all this time? You've been lying. We've been lied to. Anything to keep us away from who we really are. So join my free live every Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We talk about all kinds of stuff like this, but I can talk a little bit more because it's not being restricted by social media, which everything I say is. You can schedule me for a speaking engagement. You can schedule a one-on-one. Everything's at strategiesforhappiness.com. And also all the links are in my bio of all of my social media. So the Soul Rehab Project and Sarah Saxby. Send me an email, sarah@strategiesforhappiness.com, if there's anything you want me to talk about or have any questions for me. And I look forward to a future of turning this around. It's not going to be easy. I understand. But if you feel really, really lost right now, and the more you do, the worse you feel, it's just not doing it anymore. The more you try to escape, you're on the right path because there are people that aren't even aware of it. So come join the ride with me. We're gonna do this together.